Welcome, everyone, to episode 5 of the Goulet Pencast, where fountain pens are still a thing. I am Brian Goulet.
And I'm Drew Brown.
And we're here from Goulet Pens to deliver this casual and informal, tangential and extraneous, superfluous and extemporaneous fountain pen show where we talk about what's going on at the Goulet Pen Company and in our fountain pen lives. In today's show, we're going to be giving some feedback, or receiving some feedback, I guess. We got a bunch of Q&A questions from you all, and we got one of Drew's hypotheticals, as well as a game where we're going to eat weird candy. So that's kind of fun. We know how much Drew loves that. And you might also notice that we are in person because things are changing in the world. Drew and I are both fully vaccinated, thank goodness. And Virginia, the state of Virginia, is in transition.
We're relaxing a bit, not all the way.
Yeah.
We have, maybe reclined a bit, but we're not full, beach mode quite yet.
Yeah, there you go. We have the feet up, but we're not, leaning back, reclining,
We're as far back as, you can go electrically with your car before you, hit you pull the actual lever and go, fully commit.
Is this, the seat of the car that
Yes.
you're talking about? Like a hybrid electric manual seat?
Moving on.
Okay, that's cool. I'd just like to know where your head's at, Drew.
I don't know what I'm saying.
Yes, indeed. But anyway, we are here in the office. We're still keeping a little bit of distance from each other, but we get to see each other's face and feed off each other's energy. And we don't have to listen to each other through headphones that are going to get, cut off.
Or deal
bad
with
internet connections because my kids are streaming videos all afternoon. Because that happens a lot. Anyway, let's start out with some feedback, shall we, Drew?
We shall.
Drew, you pulled all this feedback, so I'm going to let you basically say all of it.
I did. All right. So this one's not feedback specifically related to the Pencast from last week, but you did publish a video, which was a slice that you recorded a while ago about do you need to break in a fountain pen, which I thought was pretty cool. And the gist of it was not necessarily more or less you need to adapt to the pen yourself.
Right.
But there were a lot of comments about pretty much saying no, I definitely need to break in this pen. Some folks even said no, my ink started off bad, but then it got good. So I don't know, man. Maybe there is such a thing as breaking in a pen. I don't know. It was met with some contention.
Well, you know what? That's what I like about the pen community. Everybody has different experiences. Yeah. I think, my whole thought behind the video was that the notion is we as the writers, we write a perfect specific way and the pen has to get used to us. That's what I was trying to bump up against a little bit. I definitely agree. There are some pens that will benefit from, regular use, especially at the beginning, because there's machining oils and stuff in there that need to work its way through the pen.
For sure.
That wasn't necessarily where I was going at with the whole breaking in thing.
Yeah.
The breaking in thing was more no, your pen is the nib is metal and you are flesh. So your flesh is going to adapt a lot easier than the metal.
Yes.
That's what I was going after. But I think there's a lot of great points and
that's a great way to
good engagement, and it was footage that we had from 2 years ago that we didn't have to shoot and we got to reuse and
some
reshare.
Folks were
so
oh yeah, Brian's
good.
Back. I'm we are now kind of pretty much.
What it was is we sliced out those videos from Q&As 2+ years ago, and we found a batch of a dozen of them that we never actually published. Yeah. So we're oh, okay, let's get these
Put them up there.
Anyway.
Alex Taplin said that, and you need to believe this because you said you were going to believe it if someone legitimately said it. Okay. Alex Taplin said that he is a woodworker and that he does, in fact, appreciate your burl interest.
Well, there you go.
And it sounded honest to me.
Thank you, Alex.
There you go.
I know I'm not alone.
There we go. There's at least one of them out there.
That's fantastic.
And you also talked about in your Frankenpen segment that you would do a custom grind on your theoretical Namiki Emperor.
Yeah.
Our friend Alan Shutko actually mentioned in the comments that he actually had an Emperor custom ground by Richard Bender. So it's been done. That's not crazy.
Alan, you have great taste, so I have no doubt that if anybody was going to have my dream nib grind, that would be you. So that makes me very happy.
Yeah, we got a Cursive Italic.
That's pretty awesome.
And then there were some more folks on YouTube who said that time duration of this pencast doesn't matter to them at all. And you know what I liked about that? They also said that they sometimes listen to us while they're doing chores or doing crafting or something like that.
I would hope they're doing something more productive than just sitting there wow, I'm hanging on every word.
Don't actually look at us.
No
Jeez.
way.
But I take that as, we are in some way assisting with productivity.
Oh.
Yeah. So if
yeah.
you're listening while you're cutting the grass, I feel like I'm helping you cut the grass.
Hey,
and that's more grass than I
like
cut
that.
at my house. So
that makes me. What do you mean? You don't cut your grass?
No.
You got like just let it go feral? You
no,
got like
I
a
pay.
wilderness in your yard?
I pay $45 every 2 weeks, and this is the best money I have ever spent in my life.
$45 every 2 weeks.
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
No.
I got a bigger yard than you.
That's
though.
true. That's
I had
true.
gotten a quote on it. It was like $225 per mowing, and I was like, no.
No, I would pay $1,000 because I hate cutting my grass. I wouldn't be able to afford it. We wouldn't eat anything, but I wouldn't have to cut the grass.
Wow. See, I enjoy cutting the
I
grass.
like doing fun yard work, like planting some. I like trimming the hedges. That's fun.
See, I hate
cutting
that.
the grass.
No, I hate that.
I despise.
I love cutting the grass. You know why? Because most of the time, Drew, you've been in management, you've been in leadership. Most of the times you're planting seeds, and you can't say like, I spent 30 minutes in this meeting and I directly have a result. You don't always tangibly see the fruits of your labor immediately. But when I mow the lawn and I look back and I'm like, that grass is shorter now. And I mow the whole yard and I'm
That's
like,
true.
doesn't this yard look great? I just spent 45 minutes and now this yard is mowed.
Alexander
satisfaction
Hamilton, Lin-Manuel Miranda said, legacy is planting seeds in a garden you don't get to see.
Well, okay, Drew.
Yeah, so much for your legacy, Brian Goulet.
Okay, well,
anyway,
step off your high horse over here. Jeez.
There's also a lot of love for brown pens and brown ink in last week's episode. I also got someone mentioned the Cappuccino Edison Premiere, which may be like the longest running, longest selling premiere that we've had, right? Because that was G1.
It was one of the. It's the longest running exclusive pen that we've had.
Brown.
That premiere was the first exclusive. There were 3 colors. There was a brown, a blue, and a black. Rachel chose the brown. I chose the blue. Brian Gray chose the black. Black went out first. Blue went out next.
But brown's still around.
Brown is still hanging in there. Cappuccino just
That's right.
keeps going strong.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you have.
Yes.
Your,
my
some
people are
solidarity
out
there and
yes,
your brown.
My people are out there.
Brown pen and ink fans.
All right. You want to talk about some new stuff?
I think we should. New stuff.
New stuff.
All right. We have the Kaweco All Sport, or Kaweco, if you like to say it that way.
It's Kaweco.
All Sport Vibrant Violet. It comes in a variety of packaging, if I remember correctly, because we got all kinds of mixed up things. But anyway, this one's in a tin, the one that's on my desk. Really nice looking violet pen. This is the All Sport, so it's aluminum. It's got a little bit of a matte finish to it, I would say. Slight bit of texture to it. Gold trim, which the trim is literally just like the little medallion in the top and the nib. There's nothing else. You could put a clip on it, though, theoretically, if you wanted to. Tiny little nib. Available in extra fine, medium, and broad. Stainless steel nib, $90 for the pen, which is more than your average, classic sport or ice sport or whatever other plastic sport that you may have. But the weight of this is really nice. You know what I mean? And actually, Drew, the Kaweco Classic Sport, the clear one, was one of the first pens that I ever bought. So,
really?
Yeah.
Right up there with that Pelican script, huh?
It was in that same batch. I ordered 6 pens as my first order. Yeah, it was like that, a Lamy Joy, a Vista, just tried to get a variety of different pens. And I got the Classic Sport because I heard it was eyedropper convertible. Now, this one's not because it's metal, but, the format still holds up. So,
speaking of metal, I don't know if it was like on a Q&A I was answering for our website, which, by the way, we have reviews and Q&A, so if you want to ask a question on a product, you can do that. Someone asked if the clip that you could slide onto the All Sports ever scratches the metal. And I said no, because I've never seen that happen. Have you?
I have not seen it, but I could see theoretically where that would happen.
I guess if you take it off and put it on a lot, but generally if you're putting one on, you put it on and you're pretty done.
And it's not like really sharp metal, the clip.
No, it's very rounded.
It's very smooth. So theoretically, yes, it can
I think
happen.
it's safe, yeah.
I mean, it's not a purple metal. Like it's coated,
Right.
It's like an anodized, I believe it's anodized. I don't 100% know. But it's a pretty durable coating. So like theoretically, if you throw it in your pocket with your keys and stuff, okay, it could scratch it. Would the clip do it though? I haven't heard of it happening.
I think it's fine. I just want to throw that out there in case you had any other
If you have heard of it happening, please let us know, because then we cannot say that we've never heard of it happening, because then you'll have told us.
That's true.
But as of this moment, right now,
we have
not heard of it. Yep. Okay. Next thing I got, Sailor Compass. This is not a new pen.
No.
But the price is new.
Hey.
Which is why we're talking about it. So this
Tell us about the price.
Well, it's dropping to $30. Comes with a converter. Solid pen. This is, basically the entry level Sailor pen. They don't have anything else close to this price. Medium nib only, stainless steel. It writes well. It's a totally different nib than all of their other pens, but I think it's a pretty decent introduction. It's got a clear feed, which is really cool.
It is really cool.
Yeah, and tinted demonstrator pens. There's a bunch of different colors. This is the green one, which is actually the most popular one.
And then the converters match.
The converter does match for the most part. I mean, this one's like
it's not
lime green,
but it's green.
Olive. It's
we gotta
definitely
give them credit.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, it comes in a nice presentation with like a clear thing of it. So it's like great as a gift kind of thing. So anyway, very solid pen. I think they're really wanting to put a lot of like oomph behind it, get this pen in more people's hands, in the U.S. at least, and so they dropped the price on it. So
that's always good to hear.
You'll see that at us as well as other retailers. So yeah, kind of cool.
Very nice.
What you got?
That I've been playing with, and I did a video on this, was the Visconti Opera Demo. So this is a regular Opera, not the Opera Master, the smaller version.
Look at that pillow.
I know. I brought it with the box because you get to see the pillow. I'm not going to put my face on there.
This could be
your
pen.
pen.
That's gross, Drew.
I didn't do it, Brian.
You break it, you bought it.
All right. You put your face on it, you bought it. All right. This is the mint version. I keep wanting to call it Mint Majesty. I feel like that's a Starbucks tea or something like that.
That does sound like a tea.
There's always like moments where you go and get Starbucks for the team, and they make you order something embarrassing, and like that's feel. I'm getting.
I don't get embarrassed ordering drinks.
Oh, because people have bougie orders. You know that.
But you're just ordering.
Someone's like, oh, can I get steamed lemon mist with fluffy extra something?
Half whipped,
half hot
soy, whatever.
I don't know. Hot. I don't know, man. There's weird stuff out there.
Let me get half hot.
We've all heard
half
that
hot cream and half cold
We all
cream.
have that one person that orders the super bougie drink. All right.
I guess
you know who you are.
But if it's a group order, you can just be like, yeah, I work with this.
No, that's the person who should go get the Starbucks. Is the person with the bougiest order.
Oh,
that's yes. You bouge, you buy. That's the thing. All right.
Wow.
All right. This is the mint.
Where are we going with this?
I don't know.
What does bougie even mean? I know in context, but
bourgeoisie.
Bourgeoisie, is that what it is?
I'm guessing.
Like hoity-toity, like kind
Hoyt and toit. Yes.
Yeah,
sir.
is that what it is?
Toity-hoity. Anyway,
I've heard the term used, but like
Visconti.
that's the kind of thing that you're never gonna like ask and be like, yeah, I don't know what bougie is, because then you're like, yeah, I don't know what like fashionable words are.
I don't know.
I
just know I'm laughing.
I'm not
so much
afraid
my
to
face
ask
is
that.
getting hot. So
tell me what bougie means. I could Google it, but I'm too lazy. I
always have a hard
care
time
that much.
spelling bougie. Actually,
I have no idea how I would sell. Like, my sister had a cat named Bijou when she was in college, so that's that's kind of what I think of. But
like Liz Lemon's
yes.
1-900 number alias.
100%.
Yeah.
But she had this cat before that, so I laughed hilariously. Bijou.
I'm Bijou.
I forget what Bijou means. It means something. It's French for something. Right. I don't remember.
Bijou and bougie. Anyway, Visconti Opera Demo. So the most interesting thing about this is the material and the fact that they changed the piston rod. So these have all had they're usually titanium rods, right, Brian?
I'm looking at Bijou. I didn't even hear what you said.
So this one has a clear acrylic rod, which is interesting because you think acrylic, you think less strong than metal. And it does have a little bit of bend, but it's honestly really solid. So I was happy with them. I think it's a really good build. The double reservoir power filler area, like the second reservoir, is actually where the hook safe lock stuff It's got a new feed, which is different, and it actually comes out a lot easier.
Oh, that's nice.
I know, right? Like, you know how tough those used to be. It says Visconti on the side. So there are some changes for the better, some changes for the same, like the piston rod I think is equal to the old one.
It's different.
No better, no worse, yeah. But it's resilient, it's sturdy.
Interesting.
So, yeah, that was interesting.
Bijou means jewel in French, by the way.
Well, how about that?
Just in case you were wondering.
There you go. Don't say we never learned you nothing.
Yeah.
It is a fingerprint magnet. So a lot of polished metal on this.
How do you feel about that? Do you feel like if a pen is a fingerprint magnet, is that like a deal breaker for you?
No, it's not, because you know what? I kind of love polishing things that are very easy to polish. Like, I love taking our polishing cloth and like, and it doesn't take a lot of effort, but you get to make it like look real good.
Interesting.
So yeah, I kind of take.
You enjoy the process of like polishing a pen?
I do.
See, I go the other way with it. I'm just like, well, this is gonna fingerprints all over it. I'm never gonna.
I don't like
polish
the process of polishing like bronze. That's a pain in the butt. Or
like a patina.
Copper.
Like,
no.
That's
not
like
messing
a
with that.
restorative type of thing.
That
No,
gonna patina
not
and
so much.
be done with it. But if it's something easy,
Now, if I remember,
quickly gratifying.
If I remember correctly, Drew, in episode 4, you did say that you wanted sterling trim.
Yes, and I'm gonna let it patina.
Which it's gonna have to.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm fine with that.
So you wouldn't polish that, then?
No. If it's easy to polish and I get instant gratification, like just kind of removing oil fingerprints and stuff.
Okay.
I like that.
Okay. Fair
I'm
enough.
into it.
Fair enough.
Also, we launched some new inks, Brian Goulet. We have
multiples.
We have the whole line of Diplomat inks, which are really nice. Finally launched those.
Those are really nice looking inks.
Especially for
I had
a pen brand ink.
I'm not going to say I didn't have high hopes because that makes it sound like knock against Diplomat, but typically with an ink brand, they go very conservative, with the ink colors.
Yeah,
unless
you're Sailor. Sailor's got some crazy inks.
Sailor does it, but their standard line is not that crazy.
That's true. That's true.
But they've gone.
Pilot has your Roshizuku, which are neater than normal.
Yeah, but the Pilot standard line, which is not widely available in the U.S. because it's super boring.
Yeah,
is again super boring, like I said.
But I think
not bad, just
inks are really nice.
Not crazy and exciting like we would have in the U.S. Anyway.
Yeah. And we also completed our Private Reserve collection, which we've been rolling out in stages.
Yeah.
And now it's officially back, all the way back.
Yep.
So if you were waiting on picking up your favorite when we first brought it back a little bit, we brought it back all the way. So everything should be there now.
There are maybe some colors they had at one point that weren't like part of a standard line, maybe that we don't have, but I think all the standard stuff we've got now.
And it's with cool. And it's with new owners now, so we very well could be seeing new Private Reserve coming down the pipipeline sometime soon. I'm hopeful.
That would be kind of cool.
I would be excited about that. Yeah. And that's it for new stuff.
All right. Good deal. This is good. We're got a good pacing here, Drew. See, when we shoot like this, we don't have the timer to like be staring at us in the face and be like, oh my gosh, it took us 15 minutes to get
totally unaware of reality.
Feedback. All right. What we do have right now, though, is some Q&A.
Q&A.
And Drew, I'm going to let you kick it off.
I'm going to proverbially kick this off with a question from Mel_MC on Instagram. And she asks, any signs pens are getting more popular? Fountain pens are getting more popular? Is it even possible to tell? What do you think, Brian?
Fountain pens, like just in general?
I guess, the hobby, the interest.
And under what time frame? Like more popular in the last 2 weeks, in the last 12 years?
I don't know. Lel_MC is not here for me to ask, so we're going to suppose.
I'm going to say if you're looking at a reasonable time frame, 5-10 years or so.
Yeah, let's do 5-10 years.
We only have perspective on maybe 11 or 12 years. I would say, yes, they have gotten more popular for the most part. The internet, the rise of social media, the ability for people to share more about it, educate themselves, educate others. We certainly have participated quite a bit in that. We did not exist a little over a decade ago, and now here we are. So I think we can speak to that at least. Globally, though, I don't know, because I think it's kind of interesting when you think about countries like Japan and Germany and France, India, China, places where fountain pens are a little more prolific. They have like fountain pens in schools and things like that. When I talk to people that are living in those areas, they talk about it being a little bit on the decline, kind of like in the UK, all the kids had it in school and they like never use it once they get out of school for the most part. So it's like, I think there are different periods of decline in different countries. So in terms of globally, I don't know. I don't know if the enthusiasts that are getting into it are making up for the loss of like schools using them and teaching them to the younger generations. I would say maybe not. That at some point it'll settle out to where it's maybe not the go-to tool that's used in school, because obviously digital and technology and with COVID life and, my kids have been virtual for the entire last year. So they're not really pushing fountain pen use or really any pen use at all in school. So globally, that's probably going to be more the trend. And then you'll have enthusiasts that are going to find it. So I think it's more that it's shifting in general, but it's hard to tell exactly.
Do you think that maybe because it never went out of style in some European countries that it hasn't been able to make a comeback? Maybe they need to follow the similar trajectory that we did, where it totally goes away and then comes back with a vengeance.
Yeah, like maybe it's not really going away and then coming back. Maybe in certain countries, like there's a lot of kids still using them, but then there's also the internet. So you can kind of just continue using it. It's just the use shifts to a little bit more of a hobby as opposed to, a tool.
And you know what I have seen, and you've probably seen the same thing. When we first went to the DC show, you've been going longer than I have, but I've been going for the past 7 years, I think.
Yeah.
the demographic is much more varied than it used to be.
The
tables are much more varied. The
more diverse, younger, wider variety of people, more international.
First time I went, a lot of vintage stuff.
Oh, yeah.
At the DC show. And as I've continued to go, there's still a ton of vintage stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more new, fresh, innovative stuff as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's attracted a wider variety of people. So
yeah, and I think that also speaks to, I think what you're seeing there is you're seeing probably just a greater trend of independent craftspeople, makers.
Oh, yes.
Because I would again point
Absolutely.
to the internet, social media. When you eliminate all these barriers of things like marketing and development costs and consumer reports type things, when you have accessibility and low barrier to entry and low cost for all these types of things, it allows individuals who have a great idea for a product to make that much more feasible.
And they can market themselves on social media.
They can market themselves. They can source their products easier. They can test market them. They can sell them on Instagram or eBay or whatever, with lower fees and stuff than what did you do 20 years ago? You had it in a catalog or you consigned it through a brick and mortar store. And, it was a lot more work to try to do that as an independent pen maker or whatever craftsperson. So I think that has contributed to a rise of boutique products. But then larger, much larger companies, maybe aren't getting into the game as much. So you're seeing a lot more enthusiast-driven, a lot more, innovation, but on a smaller scale.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like that.
Yeah. Still fun, very interesting, very dynamic. I don't know. If you mix all that together, I don't know if that means they're more popular or less popular. I would just say it's evolving.
I would say that if you feel like you've noticed it being more popular, you're probably not wrong.
Yeah. And who really cares? As long as cool stuff's coming out and as long as you're enjoying it, who really cares if it's globally a big thing? As long as you're getting what you want out of it.
Maybe you're one of those people who, wait, if this is popular, I don't want to like it anymore.
I mean...
Is it still underground? Because if it's not, I'm going to find this other band that nobody knows about.
That's right.
All right, what you got?
Is that Boujee? Is that a Boujee? Or is that a hipster thing? Is hipster and Boujee, are those different things?
I don't know.
Or is it like a Venn
I'm sure
diagram?
There's a Venn diagram. Yeah, exactly.
That overlaps?
Yeah, I'm sure they overlap.
I feel like
somewhere.
the hipster thing is I don't like it anymore because it's popular. I liked Marvel before they made all these movies. Friggin' Marvel's been popular. That's not a thing. I don't know.
That's true.
I don't know who I'm even talking about right now. I don't talk to people that have their nose in the air about liking Marvel. Anyway. Okay, let me dig myself out of this one. WB Kelly 24 asks, why doesn't ink leak out of the filler hole?
Well, WB Kelly 24, if you take a straw, fill it with water, and then plug the back end, it doesn't leak out either, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Because physics.
Now, however, say you have a pen this is a bad example because my pen's filled with ink, so I can't actually do it. But if I have a pen and I am filling it, I'm changing the air pressure inside the pen. So it's filling it. If I was to reverse that, it would then come out of the filler hole because I'm reversing the air pressure. Yep. So if I was to, do that same action, it would come out of the pen.
Yeah.
But like Drew said, when it's plugged up like that, there's still a hole there, but it's held in there with that equalizing of pressure.
Yeah. You need to replace air with ink. And if that's not happening, the ink kind of stays where it should.
I like the way that Richard Binnard has always said it. He says that a fountain pen is just a controlled leak. So that's basically all that's happening in your pen. There is a hole that's happening, but there's actually kind of, if you want to think about it, there's two holes. There's the filler hole and then there's the nib. So the feed with the slit and the channel that comes through. So the ink is going out that one. It's going through the filler hole. But when you're not actually filling the pen, you have air going through the filler hole, and the air is exchanging with the ink as it's flowing out. So it's not enough, just gravity or pressure, whatever you want to call it. I'm getting out of my depth on the physics side of things. For the ink to just leak out of the pen, that's when you have improper air ink interchange. So if your pen is leaking like that, that's a problem. And they design and they engineer the filling mechanisms on these pens to have that proper balance of the air and the ink that interchanges out so that it stays in the pen when you're not writing with it, but then it flows out when you are writing with it. Mm-hmm. If you get that wrong, your pen's going to write too dry, it's going to write too wet, it's going to drip out of the pen or whatever. But if you get that right, then it should be you fill it perfectly fine. And then when you write with it, it flows out nicely. And when you're not writing with it, it just stays in the pen. So that's why it's basically physics. And yeah, there we go.
Yeah, if you want any more science, we're not the people to go to.
Yep, and that's officially all I know.
All right, Brian. Brad the Bear 1 on Instagram asks us, what's the interest in ebonite feeds? What's up with that? Why do people want ebonite feeds?
Doesn't it just sound cool? Is that Boujee? Are ebonite feeds? I feel like that's the
Ebonite.
theme. I feel like Boujee needs to be in the title of this episode somehow.
Ebonite is how I like to say it.
I feel like I was into ebonite feeds before they were cool.
Yeah.
That actually was a thing. That was like the original thing. So ebonite is basically vulcanized rubber. It's hard rubber.
Vulcanized is a cool word.
I don't know if it's technically vulcanized. Okay, so
That
that's
means
like
fire.
That's what you have for like car tires, which is also hardened rubber. But I think there's other stuff in there.
Wait, does
So
vulcanized
I
mean
think-
fire?
What?
Fulminate means fire. Vulcan. I think I'm getting them confused.
We are getting out of our depth here, my friend. I know vulcanized is what's used for car tires, but I think there's other chemicals in there
Still
that
sounds really
are part of the
awesome.
vulcan. Anyway, it's hard rubber.
Vulcanized is when you take a
Treated
human,
rubber.
make their ears pointy, and give them a nice widow's peak hairline.
That's right. Can you do the thing? Yeah,
I'm
you can do it.
hilarious.
Yeah, there you go. Not
Sorry.
everybody can do that so easily. Anyway, so ebonite feeds. So it's hard rubber. Why does that actually matter? It doesn't really, like, aesthetically. It kind of looks the same. It's black.
A little more
it looks
matte
like a
usually.
feed. Yeah, but who really cares? Let's be honest. It's like, it's like a working part of the pen. It's
Yeah.
not really the most attractive part.
No.
It's really in how it flows. So because it's rubber, which is a natural material, it's what's known as a hygroscopic material. What does that mean, you say? So hygroscopic means that water flows through it. It like attracts.
Is that like
water, I guess.
hydrophobic?
If it repelled water, it would be hydrophobic.
That's the opposite.
Yeah. Phobic and scopic, I think. Boy, I really feel like we're getting right to the edge of what
I'm
we
sorry,
know
I picked
about.
most
and
of these questions,
I think
so
we're crossing over into
I
where we don't
apologize.
know. So
I just
please-
wanted to make us sound stupid.
the
for
comments are
an
going to
hour.
light up and be like, these fools
Yeah.
think they know what they're talking about, but they really don't, which is kind of true.
We do our very best.
We do. But whatever the terminology is, the ebonite material, it basically assists in the ink flow process. So it assists in the capillary action and will maybe retain a little bit of the ink in there. It just helps it to flow a little better than like a hard plastic will. Another benefit of it is you can heat it up and you can bend it. So you can bend it up to the feed. You can fit it to the nib. It can fit it a little tighter. So you can do, little, it's more like a custom tailored suit as opposed to buying off the rack.
It has
if
a
you will.
memory.
It does, yeah. So you can like heat it up, it'll cool down, it'll stay right where it is. And you can technically do that with a plastic feed too, but you got to get the plastic hotter. If you deform the plastic, it ain't coming back.
Right. Ebonite, when you heat it again, it goes right back to its original state.
Exactly. So there's more you can do to like kind of tweak and customize an ebonite feed.
And if you see ebonite on a pen and that may reflect value, giving it a higher price point, they are harder to manufacture as well. We've seen that
Absolutely.
at Aurora, Monte Grappa when
Yeah,
we visited. There's a much wider error rate, much larger error rate with these pens. They chip.
Absolutely.
They are porous, so within the material there's pitting and holes and stuff like that. And if you get a pit in the wrong place, then you've got a fin that's totally out, and they need to toss it. So, manufacturing ebonite feeds does take more, so that often can be reflected in price.
My memory serves me correctly. Was it 30% defect rate or something like that?
If it's a number, it's not my brain.
Okay, I
Ever.
believe that was what they talked about at Monte Grappa.
It's a lot.
So yeah,
It was a gasp worthy number. I remember we were both.
yeah, it was kind of shocking.
Yeah.
But you got to take risks if you're going to get something kind of cool
right.
like that.
Risky for the biscuit.
All right, next question. This is from Rick. Dear Brian and Drew, what are the steps in the production process for dual tone nibs compared to solid gold nibs? How are the masks made? Is the mask applied to every nib by hand? What's the success rate like? Does color bleed around the edges of the mask, leading to a significant percentage of the finished nibs being rejected? And, because it's not enough questions already, how much more expensive is a dual tone nib with a simple nib design compared to the same nib in solid gold? This is a lot of questions.
That is a lot, and we're not going to be able to answer all of these.
Oh, we're going to answer them all. Let's do it.
So I actually have no idea, but I got very interested in this, so I reached out to Brian Gray over at Edison Pens and Jeremiah over at Monty Winfield. Both more knowledgeable than I about
So you're not even going
most
to
things.
ask me if I know the answer? You're just going to assume that you got to go somewhere else and get the answer? Is that how it's working?
Anyway.
Okay. I see how it is.
Awkward. They both agreed that it is most likely, neither of them knew, and they were like, hey, this is what I'm supposing. They knew more about nib manufacturing. Brian is spoken with the owners over at Yovo a number of times. They suspect that it's a lacquer that is put onto the areas you don't want to have plated, and then the lacquer is then removed by a solvent later once things are done. Most nibs have engravings, and that separate where the two-tone begins and ends, which creates a natural barrier for the lacquer to kind of pool end to end. So once it dries there, using those lines as a barrier and endpoint, they can apply the solvent, get it off. They said sometimes, with really much larger manufacturers, stickers might be applied, decals that could then be removed. But and then we've all seen where sometimes plating bleeds. You get a little bit of silver where the gold should be. So everybody probably does it different, whether it's Bach or Yovo or Mont Blanc, whoever, some folks that make their own nibs. They might all do it differently for all we know. But that seemed to be the consensus, most likely scenario, some sort of a lacquer.
I don't know whether it's lacquer. I don't know whether it's an electroplating or what the exact chemical process is.
I'm just talking for the mask, by the way, for the masking process is done by lacquer.
When you have a two-tone, you're going to have, you can have two-tone on a steel or a gold nib. If you have steel, you can have gold plating. Think about Jinhao has some that are two-tone
I think Kaveco does it too.
Yeah. You can have, a solid gold, which is always yellow gold. If you ever have a solid gold nib and it's silver colored,
Gold's yellow.
It's most likely plated in rhodium. Or if you get jewelry and it's white gold, there's no such thing as white gold. It's gold that's plated with probably rhodium. So anyway, that's what's happening there. So I don't know specifically based on which company or whatever what their process is. But you basically described it right. They have to mask it. And I don't know whether they have a template to go off of to stick it on there or whatever. But I believe, and I've been told, even Yovo, steel nibs, when they do that, they do it by hand. And it's extremely laborious.
Probably explains why they're not doing it anymore.
That is part of it. Yes, because it's very labor intensive, and apparently it's very difficult to do and do right, and you can screw up a lot of them, and you can do everything else right on the nib, tune it, manufacture everything, and then you screw that up, and it's everything else is wasted because it's the last step in the process. So that would probably be pretty disheartening. But anyway, so I think we've seen fewer and fewer two-tone nibs across all brands, especially with COVID and stuff, because I know there are, especially in the EU, there's certain regulations around certain electroplating and chemical processes. There's more environmental regulations. That's some of why ebonite's a little harder to come by. Some of why you're not seeing celluloid, real celluloid, because there are so many more environmental restrictions and safety restrictions. So it's just not feasible to make some of these things. So I think that fits into it. I do believe that it's a pretty hand done process. Whatever it is, it's actually used.
It certainly is pretty.
I have no idea the number of nibs that are being rejected.
We're not going to have that information.
I don't
Honestly,
know.
They're probably not going to give that out either.
Yeah.
You know who's got a good two-tone looking nib, though? Diplomat.
They do.
That is a good looking two-tone nib.
Sailor, too. Sailor's done it right.
The Lamy gold nib often flies under the radar.
Yeah.
That is
one's just a little bit
nib.
of gold. Just a little bit of gold, but yeah.
Just a hint.
That one's crisp looking, too. So anyway, it's really interesting because the last question asking about how expensive is it compared with, another nib, they usually don't offer, no company offers a plain one and a two-tone. It's usually if there's a pen, they choose which nib is on it. Surely it's labor intensive. It definitely has a higher cost associated to it.
You have to do more.
But it's one of those things that people don't necessarily associate that as being a higher cost.
Right.
If you have a stainless steel nib and you say you want to make a black coated nib, it's a whole extra step to make it black, but people don't want to necessarily pay more for a black nib versus a steel nib. They just I just want it in black. And, so it's a kind of thing that most companies, they tend to just kind of eat the cost on these extra steps because they think, it's going to be more desirable and make them stand out, sell more pens. It's more expensive to produce, but it's not always higher cost. Sometimes it is, but not.
So there you go. That's our best guess.
Yeah.
Nothing brilliant there, but I felt like I learned some stuff there.
Well, there's nothing brilliant anywhere in this pencast, so
let's be real. Hope you didn't come here for that.
That's not the standard. Okay.
Brett621 on Instagram asks, what would you recommend on a budget? Multiple cheap pens or one or two nice pens? So quality versus quantity sort of scenario. So since this is a hypothetical, Brian's going to take 9 hours. I'll see you later.
I need to ask some clarifying questions first so that I can... No, I'm just kidding. This one's pretty straightforward for me. I think I'll speak from personal experience.
All right.
When I was more in my kind of newbie stages, I didn't yet know what I liked and what I didn't. I read about a lot of other people that swore by this pen, that pen, the other, nib size, all this, but I didn't really know. I didn't have any experience. I didn't know anybody personally who was into fountain pens when I first got into it. And so it was very experimental. So I went the multiple cheap pens route. I did my research. I went with ones that were good value pens, the reliable, workhorse, affordable ones, the Lamy Safari Vistas, the, Kaweco even, had TWSBI existed at the time, I certainly would have gotten that right away. Those ones are the ones that I would encourage newer people to get into because you just don't know what you like. So I would do that. I would try to get the widest variety of nib sizes, filling mechanisms, grip sizes, cap types, all that stuff, because that's my style. Some people are like, I want 3 pens and that's all I'm ever going to use. And if I buy a new one, it's going to have to replace one of these 3 and that's it. And for those people, I would say go the 1 or 2 nice pens route. And, you might have to cycle through a few of them, sell off an old one. You might have to eat a little bit of the cost, replace it with a new one, parlay it into, your new pen and go that route. But me, I'm an acquirer. I like to have the widest variety. So I like the multiple cheap pens route. That's what I'll stick with for Instagram.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that finding out what you like is super important to be able to continue with the hobby. If you get a nice pen that maybe isn't the perfect pen for you, you're less likely to continue with the interest, be it fountain pens or anything else. But if you're able to try them out, like you said, I think you're more likely to find something that really speaks to you, that brings you further down the rabbit hole. So yeah, good.
There you go.
Good call.
Okay, fair enough. All right, next question. Hi, GPC team. It's from Renee. A few videos ago, Drew commented about the Sailor Ink Studio line and how he didn't like the numbers and wished that they had names. Honestly, I would watch a whole video about Drew coming up with silly or serious names for the Ink Studio inks, but it might make a fun short-running segment for the Pencast, to name a few. That does sound like a fun segment for this Pencast, doesn't it, Drew?
It does. And while I won't say this is a complete segment, what I did think about were my 2 favorite inks within the Ink Studio line, and that is Ink Studio number 123 and 224. Both of them have that famous Ink Studio purpley gray funky halo green thing going on. God, I love them.
That kind of iridescent-y type of
so good
thing.
But I have a hard time distinguishing them both. One is lighter than the other. 123 is lighter, 224 is darker. And I've decided that 123 from now on will be referred to as Rain Fluff.
Rain Fluff.
Yes.
Okay.
And 224, Brian, Storm Fluff.
Oh,
yes.
I see.
Rain Fluff and Storm Fluff.
Similar vibe.
But Storm to me
Storm is a little
sounds
darker.
darker.
Storm clouds are a little darker.
Yes, but still fluffy.
And it's got the whole cloud vibe, that
Yes.
gray with the fluff, kind of like rainbow. Like rainbow might be starting to peek out of the cloud a little bit.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Say
yeah,
good
I'm
job,
tracking, Drew.
It's perfect. Wonderful.
I think you nailed it. Drew.
Excellent.
Okay.
One
so
other thing.
We got 98 other inks now, so
stay
get on
tuned.
that.
One
Not
other
bad.
thing that Renee mentioned that Rachel had told us earlier when we launched Ink Studio was that the numbers actually do have meaning.
Yes.
So the first digit, the 1 or the 2 in this case, 224, 123, the 1 is a darkness indicator, meaning very, very light.
Yep.
2, slightly less light. 0 is actually the darkest. So it basically goes on a, like if you're, look at the number key on the top of your keyboard, 1 to 0, 0 being the highest.
0 is like the 10.
0 is like a black, yeah.
Yeah.
So the first digit is darkness and the second digit is hue. So, all of...
Second and third digit, I guess.
Yeah. Well, the third digit is a bit of a mystery.
Yeah.
We don't really know what that's
We weren't told
for.
that any of this is actually the case.
No, but it's pretty obvious what the first and second digits are. But
Yeah.
if you know what the third digit is, let us know because it's a bit of an industry mystery. So,
there you go.
Anyway,
Yeah.
thought that was cool. So there you go. Rain Fluff, Storm Fluff, 123, 224.
Thunderfluff. That's a good name too.
Thunderfluff. Which one's going to be? Which one's going to be Thunderfluff?
I don't know. Maybe that's a different color.
'Cause you can't really see
Maybe that's
thunder.
a darker. Maybe you can't.
Okay.
No one actually can. Anyway. Hey, look at that, Drew. We got through the Q&As.
There we go.
Next up, I'm seeing that we have a hypothetical.
Yes, we do. I like not being able to see the time. I feel like I'm in like a store that doesn't want me to leave, casino or something. They do that, right? That's a thing. Anyway, all right.
It used to be, but now everybody has cell phones. So
man, technology.
Pretty easy to know what time it is if you care.
And there's these things on the wrist every now and then, too.
Nobody
all right.
cares about this.
So you ready?
Am I ready?
Yeah, you're ready.
I don't know.
All right, this one's going to be film-related, Brian.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Because I'm such a film...
Hey, we all have our thoughts and opinions.
Such a film buff. I'm so bougie with my film knowledge.
Okay, so would you rather erase a movie sequel from existence or create a new sequel? And the sequel that you create doesn't have to be a sequel happening now. It could be a sequel that you apply to sometime in the past. Like if you want the sequel to occur.
So like this movie, it already has to have a sequel to it.
If you want to erase one, yes. But if you want to add one, you could add one to one.
Okay, add one to anything.
Yeah.
So I could like replace a sequel that already exists or add a sequel onto a movie.
You could either delete a sequel.
Okay.
Or create a sequel.
Oh, so just like add one onto the series if it already has,
correct,
say 3 videos or something like that. Oh gosh.
I'll let you think. I'll go with mine first. You do some brain workings.
Okay.
I love the Rocky anthology. Big fan. Love them all. Except 5. 5 is a blight upon the magnificence that is the Rocky anthology.
Wow.
They all have their own special moments. Number 1 is actually a good film. Number 4 is basically an 80s popcorn flick. They've got it all, including the Creed films. However, Rocky 5 is just a sad, sad event that should just be erased from history. So, yeah. As much as I'd like to add like a Ghostbusters 3, circa 1995 or something like that, I can't do it. Rocky 5 has got to go. Rocky 5's got to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've actually never seen a Rocky movie. I've seen like clips, from like, things. Drew's a huge Sly fan, so I know this is hurting his soul. So I have 2 answers for mine, one of which is not serious at all, but I just feel like getting Drew riled up. If I didn't go with what I actually felt, but just wanted to get Drew upset, I would say I'd replace Ghostbusters 2. But no, I actually don't.
Ghostbusters 2 is not as good as the first one, but it's still fun. If you want more Ghostbusters, it's there for you.
Okay, it was dark, and I was too young when I saw that movie. It was the first movie that I had that gave me nightmares.
Yeah, but it was also really light, too. Like Walking Statue of Liberty.
None of that stuck with me. Only the dark stuff stuck with me.
Silly and dark.
I haven't seen it since I was probably 10.
It definitely didn't work.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
I thought that I was going to if I took a bath, I was going to get kidnapped. That's what I thought. Yes. So sufficiently freaked me out as a kid.
Janusz Poha was a devious man.
Yeah. Well, that's not my answer, actually.
All right, what you got?
I'm not going to go the route.
Don't say another Fast and Furious movie. You know they're going to keep happening.
Well, they're already happening, so I don't have to wish for that.
There's going to be 25 of those.
Have you seen the trailer for 9?
No.
Oh, it's good. Oh, it's so good. John Cena's going to be in it. Come on now.
Of course he is, yes. Why not?
It's his little brother. It's going to be good.
Who's little brother?
Dom. Toretto's little brother.
Vin Diesel's little brother is John Cena?
That's right.
Stop.
Vin Diesel's surprisingly old. I forget.
It's not his age that I was concerned with. It's like the 100%.
How old are they in real life, actually?
Oh
now
God.
I'm curious. I'm
John
really
Cena.
curious.
No, answer the thing. What you got?
I'm distracting myself.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm very excited about the Fast and Furious franchise. No, I would add on a movie to an existing one that already has a sequel.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I'm gonna go with I would produce another Airplane movie.
Oh,
it's perfect. It's my perfect.
That's a good call.
Kind of humor.
That's a good call.
Dad joke kind of humor.
Now,
Shirley, you don't mean that. Of course I do. And stop calling me Shirley.
I've never seen
like
Airplane
that
2.
kind of stuff. Oh, it's so good.
Is it okay? So
Absolutely
would you make the third one modern or in the 2 years after the second one?
Man, I don't know.
Because now a lot of the actors are dead.
Of course, yeah. It's how many years have passed?
Yeah,
many decades.
Yeah,
it's hard to say. I don't know how it would be done. I don't know the best way to go about it. But I just think that there was a full-on leaning into that style of humor.
Oh yeah,
that has not been done so much.
That's a pretty solid answer.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I actually wanted to watch it recently. I have Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus. It's not on any of those. I got to sign up for some other service to be able to watch that. And I'm like, friggin'. Now it's getting to the point where I'm like, I don't have to have like 7 different services just to watch the different things I want to watch.
Yeah. I got my wife to watch Naked Gun with me for the first time ever.
That was like a close second.
It still holds
Leslie
up,
Nielsen
man.
in both of those.
Still holds up. And, seeing O.J. Simpson act is disconcerting. However, he's got one of the funniest scenes where he's in the boat and he's like burning his hand on the stove and then backs into wet paint. He's like, ah! And then he hits his head and I'm like, it shouldn't be as funny as it is.
Yeah.
But it's so well timed, and the comedy is just like so like quick and bam, 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 bam.
You know who was the villain in Naked Gun 2.5, don't you? It was Robert Goulet.
That's right.
Yes, he was.
Oh yeah,
He's my 7th cousin once removed, just in case you ever noticed. So yeah, Naked Gun movies. They did 3 of them. They did Naked Gun 2.5 and 33 and a third.
He was the bad guy I always picture when I think of the Naked Gun series, but then I watch the first one, I'm like, oh, that's a different guy.
Yeah, no, he's in the second one. Or the 2.5 one.
Yeah, right. And then 33 and a third.
It was similar style.
Oh,
yeah,
of course,
definitely.
yeah.
Leslie Nielsen brought that style about him. But the Airplane to me is just like...
You know what I've heard? I heard this. I saw somewhere on the internets, they said if they ever remake a Naked Gun film, the only person that could pull it off would be John Hamm.
Oh, he would be pretty good.
I absolutely believe that because he's a straight guy like Leslie Nielsen is, and I think he could deadpan the humor.
I'll throw one other in there. Steve Carell, I think, could pull it off.
Yeah, he did Get Smart though, and that was kind of like I guess he could. You're right.
He pulled off the character for Get Smart.
That's true.
I agree with you. Get Smart could have been better, but
Okay.
Steve Carell.
All right.
Do it. But John Hamm would be good in that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's our hypothetical.
Pretty solid.
Yeah. Well done.
Pretty solid.
You did a good job on that one.
Well, I appreciate that, Drew. All right, we're gonna try a new segment here. This is a game that we're gonna play.
A very loose game with rules that have not been well thought out.
Drew, to be fair, I came up with the game idea. I've never really played it that much, but I was like, this sounds like we could adapt this, and I've had to explain it to Drew like 7 times, which makes me doubt whether I understand it.
No, I'm just real stupid.
But I don't know. So anyway, it's a variation of Never Have I Ever, which is, I guess, typically a drinking game, but neither of us drink.
Yeah, it's like a drinking truth or dare type of game.
Yeah, so we're going to adapt it and just make it our own whatever.
We're going to make it worse.
Yeah, but it'll be about pens, so that's better.
Yeah.
I guess, if you're watching this. Okay, so the rules are we're going to say a statement. We're going to kind of alternate or whatever. Doesn't really matter who says the statement. We're going to say a statement about something related to fountain pens. Never have I ever done whatever the thing is with a pen. And if we've ever done it, we have to eat the candy that we have here. And if we haven't done it, then we do nothing. And we just, put that on our bucket list, I guess, apparently.
Great.
So normally it's like you're supposed to name like weird, like radical things that you have done and see if anybody else has done it in like
normally,
a larger group.
And normally like the thing is like some sort of like recompense. Like you're drinking
it's
is
like
you
something,
get the
something
other
you're
person
like
drunk.
Yeah, it's like something you're like not supposed to have done before.
Yeah, like I would ask you something that I think I know you've done, but I haven't, so that you can get drunk before I
But we didn't really go that route because we don't really do a lot of like shameful things with our pens. So I just went the route of like creative things or like things that like if you have a lot of pen experience, maybe you've done these things. And plus I just wanted more opportunities to eat weird candy with Drew.
If you would like to, you
can play along,
break out the bourbon or something like that, be our guest.
You can.
In the comfort of your own home. However, we're on the job. We're serious when we're on the job.
Yes. So let's talk about the candies that we've selected for today, Drew.
Oh, God.
Well, I credit you for both of these candies actually because
they're both my fault.
Yes. So you go do yours first.
I have a well-documented hate for Dots candy around the office, so much so that
a nuanced hate.
A nuanced hate. Yes, I don't
it's
inherently
not
despise the flavor.
It's not like the Good and Plenty's where we were both about to barf.
Like they're not good, but they're not going to make me puke or anything. But they are where they shouldn't be. I hate the fact that they're in theaters. They're not good enough to be in theaters. There are so many other better snacks to be in theaters than Dots. I don't like that they're in gas stations. They're just everywhere. Why? They're not that great. They belong only in that weird candy section of Cracker Barrel where all the other nonsense that nobody buys is.
That is the place I think of
that's
for
where they
nonsense
should be.
candy.
Right. They should be with nonsense
like
candy. They should not
gift
be
shop.
as everywhere as they are. I'm like, they're not that good to be everywhere.
It belongs in Cracker Barrel with the super crinkly plastic.
Yes.
With like the cardboard top to it.
Anyway, obviously I get very passionate about things that annoy me, and that makes people want to do that to get me all riled up again. So one day I walked into the office, and literally my entire office is filled with dots. They are hanging from the ceiling. They are everywhere. There's a wall of dots boxes blocking my ingress to my office. Ah! Come on! You're kidding me! You're kidding me! No. Oh my God!
Wait, turn the light on so I can see this.
Oh my God! Why? Why are you? No! No! Ah! On the What is this? What is this?
I know this.
Everywhere. They're in the air vents. They're on my TCB. There's just a big giant pile of them here. Oh, there's this sarcastic heart on my chair. This evil, sadistic, evil heart.
Wow.
This one says "Hi, Drew" right here. You know what the sick, demented part is?
Oh, look, it's in your pen holder.
You know what the sick, demented part of this? This is the 5 languages of appreciation, which clearly this person did not follow, because they do not appreciate it one bit.
Drew was terrorized by dots.
Oh my God, serious PTSD.
It was like 50 boxes of dots. I'm not joking. It was a bit much.
I need to stop reacting to things. That's my fault. I'm bringing this upon myself because I get very fired up about things.
100%. That's the reason why we did it.
Victim blaming is what it is. Anyway, it continued this Christmas.
Christmas dots.
I can smell them from here. My God. Cherry, lime, and vanilla flavored gumdrops. I'm just not even...
Is the vanilla like the white part?
don't
Like,
know.
is the
Yeah,
vanilla
I
in
guess.
everything?
I guess.
So I'm kind of excited to try these.
I'm not happy about this.
So we don't buy a lot of candy for our kids, but they get, like Halloween is like their time where they get to try every candy under the sun.
Are they in date?
Both my kids, especially my son, have declared dots as their favorite candy in the world. Through no coercion of my own, because I think they're okay. But
It sounds like they have declared that just through the fact that you don't give them enough candy.
I mean,
they
they
have
know
nothing better to eat.
They know that you don't like them because, like, word has gotten around about Drew's passion or dispassion for dots. Anyway, so for years, Drew has also been into just weird candy, not good or bad. Just interesting stuff that you don't normally see.
Yeah, why not try it?
Over the years, Drew will here and there drop off weird stuff. And a few weeks ago, Rachel comes home after picking up the mail at the office, and she's like, "These were sitting on your desk. They came from Drew. They are called edible satellite wafers." They have to qualify that they're edible because they don't seem edible. And in fact, on the back, it says Garrett's satellite wafers have been in America since the 1950s. This nostalgic candy has enjoyed a great reputation, particularly in the Northeast. My parents are from the Northeast. They've never heard of this. Anyway,
This is your heritage, sir.
where people love these candies so much, they will do anything to get their hands on them. That seems like an overreach.
I did so many things.
These
for that
satellite
candy.
wafers, with their unique combination of candy beads in an edible shell, which, by the way, is like styrofoam shell, have often been a topic of conversation since the consumers discovered you can eat the whole thing. You have to discover that you can eat the whole thing. People that grew up with our satellite wafers just love them. I hope you will too, Garrett. Well, Garrett, they are non-GMO. I'll give you that.
These are also peanut free.
So these are like
yay.
styrofoam UFO type discs with little candy beads in them. It doesn't taste bad. It's just a
No.
very weird
They taste-
textural experience.
They taste like a very flat, compressed, stale cake cone, like an ice cream cake cone.
Yes, that's exactly the consistency.
Yeah.
Is a cake
little
cone,
sticky, but not only sticky once you get in your teeth for a while.
which I gotta have a complete.
These two.
I gotta have a complete aside here. My niece had her birthday party, which we're all vaxxed, and we got to like actually see her, as opposed to last year where we got to watch her family eat cake on Zoom, which was weird.
Did you not buy cake for yourself?
No, this was like right as COVID was going
Okay.
down, and we were like afraid
You
to
should
go
take
to the
any
store and all
excuse
that
to buy
kind of
cake
stuff.
for yourself.
Well, I'm all for that, but we didn't get it together, and we watched them eat cake. So this year was really nice, and my sister made cake like cupcakes in an ice cream cone. So like the cone part was like the wrapper part of the cupcake. So it was like, and it had like frosting on top, but it was cake in the middle, and it was an ice cream. I was like, especially for like kids like 6 years old, I was like, that is genius. You don't have all these wrappers.
Right.
They still dropped them all over the place like ice cream cones, and then the dog was trying to eat it, and they were yelling at the dog and the whole thing. So you still got the full birthday kid experience.
That's cool.
But wasn't that cool?
That is cool.
Apparently that's a thing. They're called.
You can't put them in muffin tins though. It's too shallow. How do you hold the cakes up and the cake cones up?
I think she cooked it in a muffin tin. I think. I don't know the exact. I wasn't like there as she was doing it all, but she said basically you just use that instead of a wrapper, and it cooks inside the thing.
This is a full size cake cone. Like.
Yeah, like the flat bottomed, ice cream cone.
Those would fall over in the.
No, apparently they didn't.
Unless you just were very, very careful and balancing.
I mean, it's like filled with batter, so it's got some weight to it, But anyway.
Oh yeah.
That's a thing.
Huh?
What did she call them? Called them cup cones. Cup cone.
That makes sense.
Cup cones.
Cone cakes.
Cone cakes.
Cone
That's
cakes.
what it was.
That
Cup cones sounds weird.
Yeah. Madonna likes those.
Anyway, so we're gonna be eating this weird candy.
All right.
And I want to try, and my kids really want to try this too, so I got to bring home the extra. Because I told them how weird it was, and they were like, "Oh, it was Drew."
These smell bad. These
come on.
Smell. Ew! No, smell these. Smell those. That's nasty.
They don't smell that bad,
dude.
They are kind of stuck to the box though.
That smells sickening.
You can see that in there.
Come on, you don't think those smell funky?
I'm gonna go ahead and grab a couple.
Please.
For myself.
Oh God.
Help yourself, Drew.
Look, there's like the Christmas lights are dots on the label.
I'm gonna open my satellite wafers like a bag of potato chips.
I'm not eating these until I have to. No.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
They sound like maracas.
See, that's fun. Yeah, I will have one of these. These are exciting.
They're like different colors. Some of them are two-sided. This one's pink and orange. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do the never shall I ever. Never shall I ever.
Never did I ever do that
Never
thing.
shan't I ever.
All right, I'll start. Brian.
Okay. Okay. What's the first thing?
Never have I ever inked a pen with a new ink before cleaning out the old ink.
Oh. You mean like...
Not at all. No cleaning at all.
No cleaning at all.
Nope. Empty it and then put more in.
Are you talking like different color or
different
like
color.
Same color?
Different color.
I've totally done that.
I've totally done that too.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right.
Now
So
I've
what
done
are
it
you
with
gonna
like it was like a black to a gray or a blue to a dark blue or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's close enough, I've definitely done that. When it didn't really matter. In a pinch, that kind of thing. What are you doing? The dot?
Oh God.
I'll do the dot with you. I'll choose a red.
It was
a
like
red one though.
It's like creamy lime.
Did you bite the white part off first?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Why are they so sticky?
They're really sticky.
Oh God. I'm gonna be crapping my teeth for the rest of the show.
It's not bad.
No, but it's not good.
I mean, it's fine.
It's totally neutral. Why is it popular? Probably because it's gluten free.
Okay.
People are like, oh well, you have a gluten allergy. Here,
like
we're gonna punish you with dots.
It's gluten free because it's like gelatin and sugar. That's all it is. Anyway.
Yeah.
You're gonna hear us smacking our teeth this whole, whole segment. Okay. You want to do the next one, Drew? Oh, I'll do the next one.
Yeah.
I grouped them weird. All right, I'll do all the things listed under mine. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Never have I ever spilled a bottle of ink. Have you spilled a bottle of ink?
Absolutely. It was a bottle in the garage of saguaro wine, Noodler's saguaro wine.
That's such a terrible color to spill.
I got pink
so
all over
vibrant.
me.
Wow.
Yep. Oh, I'm not eating too, but you get back in there.
I definitely spilled a bottle of ink.
Which one?
I haven't in a while. It was the first day that I ever used a fountain pen.
Really?
Yep.
Oh,
second filling I ever had. I knocked the bottle of ink over. It was a Diamine 30 ml bottle, which is a plastic tall bottle.
Oh, so nothing broke. You just dumped it.
It's got a very narrow neck. Yeah, I tried to fill it and I didn't clear it out of the bottle, and I totally just tipped the whole bottle over and dumped it all over my kitchen island.
We didn't even carry that size, did we?
No, this was before we were even selling product. This was literally from the DC Pen Show in 2009. I brought home that stuff, filled up it was technically my second filling. I used China Blue as my
And you were like,
color.
I should make a store where I sell this stuff.
Well, you know what? It was part of my early experience where I was like, wow, there's kind of a lot to learn with this fountain pen stuff. And I was a total noob, and I spilled my pens, and I bought the wrong color of ink and had the whole experience. So
No, I think that was a lot of the appeal of your earlier videos, too, because you were like, I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's figure this out together.
I mean, has that changed? I still feel like I don't know what I'm talking
We
about.
still learn something every day.
I think people just expect me to know what I'm
I
talking
think
about
we've
more.
reestablished that with this video. You know how little we know. So,
That's my goal, is to reestablish that every video. How little I actually
success.
know.
We're awesome at that.
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
never
I didn't
have-
eat my candy yet.
Oh, dude.
I didn't eat my candy. Did
Eat
you
a
do
wafer.
Did you do another dot? You want me to do a wafer?
Yeah, because
All right. This one's got blue on it.
There you
So
go.
I'm gonna eat that one. Blue and orange. Okay.
Yeah. Blue.
I don't want to just go over the whole thing because I want to show you all like a cross section of what this thing is.
Ew, ew, ew. Why is it making that noise?
You know what it tastes like?
It squeaked.
It tastes like a communion wafer.
It squeaked.
That's what it tastes like. It has zero flavor whatsoever.
But just that stale
But it's got
texture.
these. Look at these little beads. The beads are blue and white and orange. I wonder if they're blue and orange because it's blue and orange.
You got to give him credit for
Man, they're like super crunchy.
So I can hear that from over here.
They kind of taste like those like nonpareils, like those little. They're like the round.
Oh, the sprinkles.
Sprinkles
Yes.
that you
Oh, I
put-
hate those things.
Yeah.
I hate those. My wife does not like the regular sprinkles, the more waxy ones, which I like. She buys the little stupid balls.
Oh, yeah.
And you get those in something, and all of a sudden you're cracking your teeth on those things. You're like, why are these there?
The wafer part is very odd.
It is
It
weird.
doesn't taste. It just doesn't taste.
No.
Like, it doesn't taste like food.
No, you're like, I shouldn't be doing this. I'm eating something I shouldn't.
The non-parel
ingest.
part is pretty decent though.
Non-parel. Okay.
And they're not like rock hard. They're chewable. They're just kind of noisy.
Yeah, they're too.
Sorry.
Too noisy.
Anyway.
Never have I ever lost a pen part down the sink when cleaning pens.
Lost it down the sink.
Yeah. I have never done that.
I have definitely dropped things into the sink.
I have, but it needs to be gone.
I think I've lost one. I think it was like an Ahab tube. You know, one of those really small clear tubes.
Oh,
on
the little
Ahab
breather tube
filling-
things?
the little breather
Yeah.
tube. I think I lost one once. So I would have to fit into that category. I'm going to go for another satellite wafer.
I had a scare when I was cleaning a 2000. If you've ever cleaned a 2000, you know the ears that clip onto the cap is a little ring, like this little C-shaped ring. That fell in the sink one time with me, and I was terrified that it was gone for good. We're not zooming in on that.
We got blue and orange and white again.
There we go.
And a blue and pink one.
Oh, okay.
So I wonder if it's all the same.
Oh, darn. No more points for
Oh
coordination.
my gosh, I'm spilling them all over me. Oh, spilled them again. Oh my gosh. I don't think you're supposed to take it apart like this.
No,
You're
it's supposed to
eat it in one
yeah,
shot.
yeah. Toss it back.
All right, I'll do that for next one. Okay.
Ah.
Drew, never have I ever lost a pen for a real long time, then found it. I've totally done that. I believe I've lost a pen for
Oh, it's so dry.
2 to 3 years and then found it again.
2 to 3 years.
Yeah, easily. Several pens. I tell Rachel I don't lose things. I just temporarily misplace them because I almost always find them again. But I almost always have something in a state of I don't know where it is. But I usually find it.
This has not happened to me.
I'm doing another satellite wafer.
Early in my history with the company, I bought 2 pens for my wife, 2 Lamy Safaris, a pink one and an aquamarine one.
It's like disintegrating on my tongue.
That's how you know it's working.
It's a whole different experience when you stick the whole wafer in
They're so versatile.
and just let it. It's like it's still weird.
Yeah. But anyway, she lost both of those. So I by marriage have lost 2 pens, and then found them years later under her seat. And then I won't say I took them away from her, but we mutually agreed that she did not need to be the custodian of the pens any
Okay.
longer.
All right.
And I recently put them on eBay, so
Hey, so now they're going.
now they're gone. Yep.
Wow. End of an
Yes.
era.
Yep. Bye-bye.
There you go.
All right. Never have I ever.
Did you eat your candy?
No, I didn't do that one.
Oh, because you haven't.
Yeah,
oh,
that was Shannon, not
by
my fault.
proxy, you've lost. Okay.
That's right.
Fair enough,
I'll
fair
bring a dot home for her.
Both Rachel and I have lost pens and then found them.
All right, never have I ever bought a pen that you used once, didn't like, but you still have it.
Oh my gosh. Hundreds.
Not hundreds.
Hundreds of pens.
Not hundreds.
I probably have hundreds of pens.
You have hundreds of pens, but you don't
That
have
I-
hundreds of pens that you don't like.
I mean, depends what you mean by didn't
I mean,
like.
like, but you bought
Like
a
I
pen.
don't like something about them.
you bought a pen because you wanted it,
Okay.
and then like, oh, no, I don't like this, and
I have
then
a lot
you
of
kept
ones
it around.
I have a lot of ones I bought that are like part of a collection. Like I have, like I get the colors, but I don't like using the pen.
Sure.
Per se.
Okay.
So you go with that. I've got a lot of those. So
This
but
was-
for sure, yes.
All right,
I've
eat up.
definitely done that.
I'm gonna not
Under
eat
dot.
again because I recently purged a bunch of pens that I bought and didn't like anymore. I put them on eBay. Tried to.
Oh, I don't like the green.
No, that was the first one I had. It's disgusting. Yes,
I don't like mint
it's lime.
chewy candy.
It's lime.
lime?
I think it is. Yeah,
think you're right, it
Cherry
is
lime
lime.
and vanilla. Gross.
Well,
gross.
I thought it was
gross.
mint, so clearly I don't
It's
have
disgusting.
a
Either
refined
way, it doesn't
palate.
work. But yeah, so I recently was like, you know what? I'm not using these anymore. I'm not into them anymore. Let me, give them to another home. So
It's actually growing on me now that I know that's lime.
ew. I think less of you now.
It's all in my teeth, though.
Yes, I have to like discreetly pick
my
some
gosh.
out.
It's got staying power.
So yeah, no longer do I have the pens. I have moved on. I was
enough.
I saved up because I want to get one of my pens Urushi'd. So I'm gonna put all the proceeds of my selling some pens that I no longer love into some custom Urushi work for the first time. So I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Fun. I'm I haven't like made this widely public yet, but I just went to the allergist this week and the dermatologist. I'm allergic to Urushi.
Yes.
Urushiol. It's very common to be allergic to it, but I'm
Yep.
quite sensitive to it.
Yeah. So
'cause
you can only deal with stuff that has been cured for a very, very long time.
Yeah, I mean, basically in pen form, you should be fine. And in talking to independent craftspeople that work with Urushi, it's almost never a problem for anybody with a finished product.
But you have had problems with finished products before.
I have on 3 different occasions. So Urushiol, for those who want to know, we're getting away from the game here a little bit, but this is very heavy on my mind because I just researched it a lot and went to the doctor. So basically, Urushiol is the active toxin in poison ivy and poison oak. It's also in the Urushi trees. That is, the Urushi lacquer is straight up Urushiol. So when it's in its cured form, it's fine. But when you're working with it, or when you touch it in the raw plant, it's highly toxic. Breakout, and it's contact dermatitis, so I break out in terrible rashes, and it takes weeks to go away, and I won't get too graphic with it, but it gets pretty gross and very painful and itchy. The thing that really stinks about it is I've actually had this happen to me at pen shows when I touch pens that have been made by, a crafts person and something like that. And, not to throw anybody under the bus, because I really don't think it's something that most people have a problem with. I know that it's mainly a me thing. And in talking to my allergist, he was like, "You are one of the most sensitive people I think I've met in my career." And I was like,
Really?
"Well, aren't I special?" So anyway.
Most people don't even come into contact with that.
Right. Well, how would you even know? Like, how would you
Right.
know that that's even your thing?
But yet you
literally,
work in
it's
an industry where it's
literally
not
if-
uncommon.
I was able to figure it out at the pen shows because I would handle a pen, which it's like always a special thing when you touch like
Yeah.
a pen or whatever. And oftentimes I will say it's been a pen where somebody's like, "Hey, I just finished this one. It's not for sale or whatever, but I wanted to show you this technique I'm working on," kind of thing, talking
Yeah.
at the bar or whatever. I touch the pen and literally I have like finger marks on my arms and face and stuff where I obviously touched the pen, then touched my hand. And I was like, all right, I traveled here. I touched this pen 2 hours ago, and now I have finger marks. I have not left the building. It's clearly the pen.
Yeah.
So, it's a weird thing that I have, but it may happen to other people out there. I don't know. So just, little word of whatever for those of you who know that you're really sensitive to poison ivy and stuff like that. Be conscious of, Urushi pens, because what happens is they end up getting coated in multiple layers of lacquer. It takes like a week to cure each one. If any of the layers are not fully cured, it'll eventually cure, but they cure from the outside in. So basically, if you have like any base layer that is not fully cured, it might be like 4 months later, and then that Urushi oil will leach its way to the surface as it is curing. So that's what makes it so difficult to figure out if you're, independent craftsman. But I've touched plenty of like Pelican and Pilot and Sailor and Platinum Urushi stuff and never had a problem. So it's weird. But I've also had it when I've worked with exotic woods. So back in my woodworking days before fountain pens, I worked with some exotic rose woods and some other things because they have urushiol in the wood, in the sawdust, and it would get on my arms and I'd break out in rashes. And also, of course, like poison ivy and various plants that I have, which I did get a cool app that shows me like types of plants that I have around my property. I have like 9 toxic plants all over my property. So that's cool.
Lucky you.
Yeah. I'd rather be blissfully ignorant, but oh well. What are you gonna do?
Stay inside.
That's kind of weird and gross, but anyway, that's a thing. What were we even talking about? How did I get onto that?
It is your turn.
Okay.
Bullet 3.
Never have I ever lost a pen forever. Well, I don't consider it lost forever because I'm not dead yet.
We just talked about this, yeah.
I'm not dead yet. I have pens that I've... No, I have lost a pen that I've now finally admitted, like, I don't think I'm going to be able to find it again. It was a Lamy 2000 with an extra fine nib. It was like my journaling pen. It was like my go-to. It's the only pen that I've ever lost and then replaced the exact pen because I was like, dang it, this pen I actually like want and use and all that kind of stuff. I have no idea what happened to it. But because it was like my journaling pen, I would like bring it up when I visit my in-laws. I'd bring it to the office a lot, you know, so I just... Somewhere in transit, it got lost, and I couldn't find it again. So,
all right. Well, you deserve a wafer then, sir.
Thank you. I think they're all blue and white and orange dots.
Well, enjoy. Never have I ever
Yep.
bought a vintage pen at a pen show. I have not done that. I feel like I should.
Really?
Nope.
You've been to many pen shows.
I have.
I have bought a vintage pen show.
I don't own a single. Like I have this Namiki's from the '90s, but like as far as like a true.
What do you consider like a vintage pen?
The oldest pen I have, I was given. It was an old Pelican from I think the '50s, but I've never bought a vintage pen from a pen show.
That's actually a good question. Is what is considered a vintage pen?
Yeah, that's true. Either way, I haven't bought a vintage pen at a pen show.
I have.
You got like some Esterbrook's?
I bought some Esterbrook's. I bought Parker 51, Parker 21, Schaefer Snorkel, maybe Todd Swan, Waterman 52.
Yeah.
I bought several.
You know, I'm going to have a dot because I feel a little ashamed of that. Wow, why are they both lime?
You should eat one. Yeah.
See,
I'll eat a lime in solidarity.
I'm going to put it way back there to minimize the amount of disgustingness that makes its
No,
way.
see, if you bite with the front teeth, there's not as much to get caught in the teeth because you don't have like the molars with all the like... Because mine's getting all stuck like on the surface of the tooth. So I got to like nibble it like this. That's really gross. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry to all of our audio podcast listeners. This is a super gross episode. Okay. Drew, I think you're next.
I'm just going to...
No, you just went. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Never have I ever dropped a pen on the ground, nib first. And
This
broken.
pen has some serious nib creep. It's like, look at that. This is like all over the front
That
of
is
that
pretty
thing.
creepy.
Man.
Drew, I have to admit, I've never dropped a pen,
Really?
nib first.
I have, and it is a very upsetting story. Come on, lime. Where are the fruit? Did you take all the red ones? Oh, lime. God.
No, I got a good number of lime ones here too.
I'm very upset. I have.
Can I
Happened in
tell
the
a
old-
story?
Yeah, happened in the
I
old
watched
office.
it happen. It was tragic.
You were in the back?
I saw you. You were coming
Oh.
through the door.
You saw the walk of shame.
I saw it. Yeah.
It was a Pelican with a Richard Bender ground added flex customization to it.
Like super fine.
It was a beautiful, really thin taper, extra fine. It was a vintage nib, so it was nice and bouncy. And I had it in my hand, and I had something else in my hand, and I turned the handle to the warehouse with my right hand, and as I was turning, it slipped out from like my pinky or wherever was holding it. And of course, I had just stepped into the warehouse, which was the transition between carpet and concrete, and right on the concrete.
Yeah.
Not only did it bend, but one of the tines snapped right off.
Completely.
Yeah.
Unrepairable. I mean, maybe technically repairable, but you'd have to weld it back on and everything. It was...
It wouldn't be the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was behind Drew when it happened, and I saw him go through the door and drop it, and I was like, oh no. It was not a good day.
It was my favorite. It was my favorite nib at the time.
I don't think you had it long either. I think you had it
No.
like a couple days or something, if I remember correctly.
It was long enough for me to really, really like it. Yeah.
That is rough, my friend.
Yeah, it was tough. Any other time I've dropped pens before. They've always been fixable though. Just like a quick little, you know, one time being a little low or high. You know, nothing tragic like that.
Now, Drew, we do have a sub bullet under here that was dropped a fountain pen and broken it. So not the nib, but have we ever like dropped a pen? So I guess we could have that as a little bonus question here. I have done that. I had, and it was terrible because it was
Like it snapped at the grip section or something?
Yeah. I had a pen that I dropped. It was the Conklin Duraflex, the first one that we had with the rose gold trim.
Yep.
I had like the prototype pen, like the artist proof. So like number 000. That was the sample that we got because it was an exclusive. It was literally irreplaceable. And it was, I had my pen case. I was bringing my pen case here. It happened right here in my office. I was going to go bring my pen case to the pen cleaning station, clean it out. Well, that pen, I didn't have it in the pen loop. It was just like laying in the pen case. I did some crazy fumble thing and I dropped the whole pen case. And because that pen was like loosey-goosey inside the pen case, just the way that it hit, it wasn't stable inside the case, and the whole weight of the case just did something weird, and it snapped the grip right off the body of the pen.
I've seen that with the Duragraphs. If you drop them,
Shame.
they do tend to break right at that.
Well, it wasn't
right
just
at that
like
point.
the pen; it was the weight of like the whole case.
Yeah,
and it just
it
like
was-
hit it weird or something. I don't know. So I was
man
like,
walking.
dang it!
Ah,
I tried to
and
glue. I tried to glue it back, and then it broke again. I was
Here's
like,
my
yeah.
question to you: when it was falling in slow motion, did you try to stick your foot out to catch it?
That is normally my default.
know.
That is that I've
Kick
saved.
it.
I've saved many pens that way.
By
I
kicking
really
them?
have by kicking them. I really have. That is like I couldn't try not to do that if I even wanted to.
It's a coin flip, my friend. You could
It is a
do
total
worse
coin flip.
damage to it, or
Yeah. I've almost had that instinct burn me because I've like dropped like a kitchen knife before while I'm cooking, and my immediate split instinct was stick my foot out, and I was like, nope, that's a terrible idea, and saved it. But yeah, that's my go-to instinct whenever I drop something is let me stick my foot out and try and break the fall.
Yeah, I think we all do that. That sounds like the kitchen knife thing sounds like a really good YouTube short where it just like cuts right after you do it. Just like roll credits. Those Curb Your Enthusiasm credits,
Yes.
Oh god. All
There
right.
you go. So I should eat something.
Yeah, you do. All right. Never have I ever hung out at the bar after a pen show well after you intended to stay up that night.
What if you intended to stay up well after you intended? Does that count?
I don't think you know the meaning of intent.
I mean, I knew I should go to bed, but I was like very okay with staying up way past when I knew that I should.
Did you intend to stay up as late as you did?
I intended to stay up late, and then I still stayed up past that. So I would say
Okay, so then yes.
I've done both, I
Yes,
guess.
yeah, I've definitely done that. I'm not doing this again. Where's the
coming-
red one? Give me that.
I'm gonna go out with a bang on the last one because we got one more question. I definitely
Yeah, I
done
remember
this.
when we went to Georgia, we stayed up way late.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking of.
Yeah, Atlanta.
I've done it at DC too.
Oh, that was super late.
Oh, this happens. Okay. I just put that in my mouth as I'm talking. All right, last question. Never have I ever been handed a ballpoint pen and discreetly pulled out a fountain pen to use instead. Not only have I done this, I did this 2 days ago.
Really?
I was at the doctor's office. And first off, I'm at the doctor's office and I'm like, gross. I don't want to use all these, it's a Bic ballpoint pen. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And also like, how many other people are touching this pen? Like, no, thank you. I mean, I'm sure they clean and all that kind of stuff, but I was like, nah, I'm good. And so I totally just like had the pen. I was like, yeah, thanks. And I had my own pen and didn't make a big deal about it. I was discreet.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
But then
You don't be like and throw it.
I wasn't gonna be like, no, excuse me, don't you know who I am? I'm Brian Goulet of GouletPens.com.
Hand me a big rollerball.
But I do have to explain myself to every doctor that I go to because they're like, so what do you do? I'm like, well, I do fountain pens. Fountain pens, really? Okay. And it's like a whole thing.
Somebody gave me a Mont Blanc one time.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have not. Because
Really?
No, I've done it with a retro rollerball a bunch of times actually. Usually my weekend thing is just to pocket a retro and go about my business. I usually don't carry a fountain pen with me when I'm out and about in just my pocket because I just don't like dealing with the jostling. Every time I've tried to do that, it's been I'm too active. I've got a 7-year-old. I'm rolling around on the ground like that thing's
active.
I'm gonna have not like in a what are you doing?
I'm gonna go with a bang. I'm gonna have all three.
Ew. Oh, stop it! Don't even.
Oh, it's like
Stop it!
styrofoam's like sticking to the dots. Oh man, this is a chore. I gotta like work at this.
Oh god. Anyway, yes, I usually just have a retro.
Tastes pretty good though.
I have two retros at home. I have my space one, my Discovery shuttle one, and my system one from who's the guy with the pen block?
I'm not gonna help you out. Mike Dudek.
Mike Dudek, yes. Dudek, yeah. So, yep. That's it. So, that is
Good
our
stuff.
flex segment. The butchered, not correct, worst version of Never Have I Ever. So, you're welcome for that.
Fun stuff. And we got candy left over for my kids. They're going to be thrilled.
Yes, please take all of these.
I
really
am going
upset
to.
at that.
I might eat some on the way home, actually.
Oh,
They're not too
God.
bad. I'm not as down on the dots as you are, Drew. All right. We're going to try and move through some. We have a little bit more here to
right.
talk about. So let's talk about what's happening, some of the things we've been up to personally. Drew?
Yeah, let's see. This was last week. My wife Shannon wanted. She saw this thing on the Disney store. It was like a little charm bracelet with little princessy icons on it, like a little rose for Beauty and the Beast, a
Yeah.
little mermaid shell. She's like, "Oh, I like this." I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna buy it for her." So, super sneaky. And then, so I got.
What a good husband.
I tell you,
She mentioned she liked something, and you're like, I'm going to make note of that.
I did. So
Yeah,
I got
I
in the
need-
mail.
I
I'm
need
like,
to
you know
do
what I'm
that
gonna do?
better. Yeah.
I'm gonna do a treasure hunt for her. And so Archer.
This already happened, right? You
Yeah, it
did
already
this.
happened.
Okay.
Archer and I
I
did
was
a
like,
little
you're going to
treasure
blow
hunt
it if
for
you're
her.
going to talk about it right now.
Yep, we did a joint treasure hunt for her. Archer sent her on an adventure where they fought a monster of some kind. And I had like clues. So very obscure written clues. And then I had an audio clue that I would play, like a song or something from that thing.
Wow.
Yeah, it
elaborate.
was very creative, very clever.
Wow.
But she was cranky through the whole thing, pretty
What?
much.
Why?
Because she thought my clues were too hard. And she didn't like the fact that she felt like I knew something that she didn't. It was clear that she was getting like irritated by that.
Well, you have to. You
I
have to
know,
put that thing
right?
together. Like,
So no, to be fair, she wasn't irritated, but she gave up very quickly on pretty much all of them.
Wow.
I said, that's too hard. I'm like, no, it's not. One of them was the clue was inventor mouse, right? Okay, and she's like, what is that? And
Inventor
then she
mouse?
went, and then I played the Rescue Rangers theme song because it was about Gadget from Rescue Rangers. And she's like,
Oh.
okay, cool, Rescue Rangers. She goes up to where all of our Disney pins are. She's like, it's here. I'm like, no, it's not. It's somewhere else. There's literally, I have a mug. I have a Rescue Rangers mug with Gadget and Monty and all the people. And she's like, no, I give up. This is too hard. I'm like, there's literally one other place.
Wow,
There's no multitude of Rescue Ranger things in the home. Like, this is not. But she just wasn't having it. She's like, no, that's too hard. Why'd you do this? She was very happy with the bracelet, but I don't know if I should have made
ended
it.
well.
I don't know if I should have made it easier, but definitely wasn't super patient.
sounds like a tough needle to thread there.
I tell you, yeah, there's a couple. A couple were winners, but then a couple were just like, she's like, what? No, that doesn't make any sense at all. I'm like, yes, it does. It's perfect.
See, if that were me and Rachel, I would put that together and she'd be like, why are you making me walk around the house? I don't want to do this. I don't think she would participate in a treasure hunt.
Yeah, I mean,
That's just not her jam.
I've done it before for her before, but she definitely she was feeling this one a little bit less. I think.
Huh.
I think it was a little bit more challenging. But once she got the bracelet, she was super
COVID life
excited.
a little bit. Maybe she's like kind of sick of like dealing with you and being around
Maybe.
the house.
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe. But
Interesting.
either
Okay.
way, yeah, that was pretty fun. Archer's adventure for her was also kind of frustrating because he was like, he didn't tell her any of the rules. He just gave her a magic wand and like, all right, you're gonna be my sorcerer. We need to go. And she's like, what? Go where? And so he's just running around doing his thing, and she's just like, you know, it was pretty hilarious.
That's great.
Yeah. So what do you have going on?
Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I've had lots of family things as well. I don't know what it is, but like all my nieces and nephews decided to be born in like the May-June time frame.
They'd
so
be
like
doing
all
that.
their birthdays are happening right now, which is cool because this year I get to like actually see them. So that's kind of cool. So celebrating lots of that, lots of last minute like, oh crap, I thought we bought a gift for that one. Oh, that was the other kid. Shoot, we don't have anything for this kid. Well, they like cash, don't they? Kids, can you make them a card? And we did that. But they're like 6, so they don't care.
Yeah, no.
Anyway, so that was fun. Did some of that. I've been doing a lot of work outside, a lot of mulching. I got some piles of dirt delivered, so I've been spreading dirt around my yard. Yay. A lot of fun. I got a ton of dirt delivered, and then my dad was like, you know, if you let that dirt sit there, it's going to like turn into a giant hard rock of a pile. And I was like, was not aware of that. Thanks, Dad. Guess I'm going to spread as much dirt as quickly as possible. And he's right. It's starting to turn into a hard pile.
Oh God.
And I have like a lot of dirt. So I'm spreading dirt right now.
So how long before you try to convince Rachel that you need a bobcat?
Oh, it's already come up.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not going to lie. I'm like, Rachel, I know they're expensive, but I could sell it after I'm done
Oh
with
my
it. And
God.
for basically what I've paid for it.
I am not surprised at all.
How fun would that be?
I mean,
Maybe not a bobcat, but like one of those skid steers, like a Vermeer, like little skid steer. You kind of stand on the back of it. That'd be fun.
if I were to choose the people that I know and say most likely to buy a bobcat, Brian Goulet would be right up there at the top.
That would be pretty fun.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I would enjoy that. All right. We'll do a couple of quick Compnay updates.
Compnay.
So we mentioned this at the very, very beginning of this video/audio podcast. If you remember back that long ago, you may have done multiple dishes and mowed lawns by this point. But anyway, so we have been, the CDC put out some new guidance around mask wearing for fully vaccinated people. So we have been working that out as to what that looks like as we transition to
We have no
some
masks right
new
now.
form of life. Yeah, so working through that. Obviously, this is like a lot of the unseen things of what goes on in running a business. Is I'm having lots of meetings about all the various scenarios and what about company lunches? Can we use the fridge? Can we do this? What about so this so-and-so's significant other wants to come for lunch one day to see them? Well, we don't really know. What does that look like? What about contractors that come here and have to do work? And do we need? Can we keep their vaccination card on file? Is that a HIPAA regulation?
Ugh.
All these things.
Yeah.
So I'm having all these meetings. So very not exciting part of any of this, but
Yeah.
it did mean that Drew and I could be in the same room together.
Those are Compnay updates.
That is indeed. Yeah, so that's kind of a thing. What's on your desk, Drew? You got some stuff you're playing
Yeah,
with,
I had a
right?
couple things. First off, I bought this thing, which is super cool. I got this from
Let me eat some dots while you're going.
Rick Shaw's website.
Yeah.
It's the Cosmo laptop bag case. It's got like a built-in like
Oh my
Velcro-y.
gosh. You told me about this, but I haven't
Sort-
seen it.
it's
This
like
is
a-
so you, Drew.
Yeah, it's got a Velcro laptop sleeve that it came with that you can remove and take
Wow,
out.
that's
This
some
thing's
Velcro.
also removable if you don't want that little insert. And
Wow.
I chose these colors. I got to pick this what was it,
It's
toffee?
a
or
custom bag.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then it's not more expensive to do the custom thing either. So I got a brown tweed with this cool teal thing going on. I kind of want to take these out because they're gray and the teal doesn't get to show. But I picked a lighter color. So that I could see what was in there a little bit better. But it fits all my stuff. It even fits my little DJI Spark drone. You can put that in there.
Cool.
Everything, yeah, all the things in there. So I'm really enjoying that. It jingles a lot.
It sounded kind of jingly.
Yeah, I'm not as into that. So I don't like people know when I'm coming. I need to be able to sneak up on somebody with my bag.
You're not, well, I don't know. You're usually bounding around the office. So
Well,
I feel like
I take long strides.
you do.
Anyway,
You have a bounce in your step.
I do.
So a jingly bag with a bounce in your step does not make for very
Yeah. I
ninja-like
need to get those little things you
capabilities.
can buy for like dog tags, so that they are silent when you're
yeah.
sneaking through the jungle, like I will be doing with my bag. Also, I have some pens on my desk. I've been testing Tibaldi pens. So that is a brand that Jaffa is distributing. So they distribute
Italian
Conklin,
brand.
Monteverde. Yep, it's an Italian brand. They have their own ebonite feeds, solid nibs. I think they either make their own nibs. They're made somewhere in Italy with the pens. But they're solid pens, so we've been looking at those, considering picking those up. They've been around the industry for a while, so they're not new. If you have any
Like
information,
over a century. They've
Yeah.
been around forever, yeah.
so if you have one or know somebody who has one, you have an opinion on it, let us know. They seem like solid pens. There's a couple weird ones, like there's one with like a tassel on there. I don't know about that one, but the rest of them are pretty solid. Little vintagey.
It's got a vintage vibe, yeah.
Yeah, not many ebonite feeds out there on pens in this realm, you know. So
And now we know why that would be an advantage because of this episode.
there we go. So they've been pretty cool. So I've been playing around with those lately. Been writing with a lot of that. So
Cool. Good stuff.
yeah.
What's on my desk? Well, I actually have my desk right now. Basically, what's on my desk here is a bunch of junk because I've not been working very much in the office here. So it's like I come in and I'm like rifling through the mail and I'm like, oh, I need to bring this on to Rachel. This can wait. And it just like piles up on my desk. So my desk is basically a disaster. Mine's kind of a tease because I have like samples and things of pens that I can't talk about yet. But we have some newer things that I'm kind of testing and playing with. So things that are encouraging and, there's new things happening. So that's kind of cool. I can't really say what or where or why or anything, but,
Can you say how?
we have new stuff. No,
Can you say who?
no. Where? I can say where.
Oh.
So my house and this office.
There you have it.
So that's all I can give you. But,
right.
Testing new samples of things. So sometimes, like Drew's teasing out Tibaldi a little bit here. We've had that for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Haven't had the ability to really do
They
much
finally
with it.
brought it to the office so I could play with it.
Yeah, but anyway, so I have some other things I played with that are probably going to happen a little sooner. So,
Cool.
Yeah, you'll hear more about them soon, I'm sure.
All right.
And that's mostly what I've been doing.
Solid.
Awesome. All right. Well, that sounds like a good place to wrap it up. So thank you, everybody. Please leave us feedback on how you like the Pencast. If you're watching it on YouTube, then YouTube would be the place to leave that feedback. Or if you're doing it on the audio land, I think I've got the feed set up correctly in the podcast world, but I'm never 100% sure.
Do we copy
it's
and
a little
paste
mysterious.
our like notes from the YouTube description with links and stuff into that?
Yes,
Okay. Someone asked me if we did that.
we do.
Great.
But it like populates out to different places like Stitcher and Apple Podcast and all that. Apple Podcast like rejected the feed saying that something was wrong. I think because I had a comma in the copyright section of the name and it had no copyright as a result of that. So anyway, I've been trying to diagnose this and it's been an adventure.
Okay.
And then it takes like a week or two for like their feed to pick it back up or whatever. So I think it's working in all the places that I intended it to.
Perhaps you can let us know if
I'm
you're
not
having any
100%
problems
sure.
so that
Yeah.
we can make Brian do more work.
Indeed, yes. But anyway, you can check out gouletpens.com, which is who I guess sort of sponsors this. We are sponsoring ourselves.
We are sponsored by gouletpens.com.
Yeah, so check out a little of what we talked about and other things, fountain pen, ink, paper needs, etc. on our site. You can check out our YouTube, Instagram channels. Those are our most active ones. You can also email us at pencast@gouletpens.com. We check it every now and then, but basically don't really like prioritize that as much. But
Yeah,
we will
we'll
look
always
at it.
post something on Instagram when we want questions. So
Yeah.
stay tuned to that.
But if you do have questions, you can email us there too if you're an audio podcast listener and have no other means. We wanted to have a way for you to reach us. So leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about any questions you have for us, feedback about the show, and these types of things. And then I do have a random fun fact as we
Please.
end here. So, I'm a woodworker. Been working with a lot of trees, talking about trees, thinking about trees.
Getting allergic reactions from trees.
Indeed. So there is an estimated 3 trillion trees on Earth. 3 trillion. So 3 trillion is a 3 followed by 12 zeros, which is more than the number of stars in the Milky Way and more than the number of cells in a human brain. The planet boasts roughly 420 trees for every living person. An earlier count had pegged the global tree count at a mere 400 billion, but that study relied on less sophisticated methods. And in case you're curious, there's an estimated 1 to 400 billion stars in the Milky Way. And that's just one galaxy. There's a lot of friggin' stars out there. That much I can say.
Milky Way also contains caramel and nougat.
Ooh, Milky Way dark as well. The nougat's like a marshmallow nougat
Mm.
and dark chocolate.
These are the important things.
Indeed. We should have that next time instead of this weird stuff.
Anything but this.
I kind of want more of it though. I've got that aftertaste thing going on where it's like the aftertaste is kind of weird, but if I eat another one, then it tastes better. I think that's how they get you. Maybe that's why dots are so ubiquitous. We're on to you, whoever makes them. Who makes dots? What's the company behind this?
Tootsie.
Tootsie? Is Tootsie like a company?
I don't know.
Is it part of a bigger parent thing?
Probably. Isn't everything?
I feel like there's like 2 candy companies out there.
Yeah.
Tootsie. Yeah, look at that. Tootsie Roll Industries, LLC. I didn't realize they were like their own standalone company.
I didn't either. I would have assumed they were Mars or something like that. Usually
Right.
it's...
Hershey, Nestle. Like, I thought
Yeah.
that was all there is.
Yeah.
Tootsie, standing alone, making dots. And Tootsie Pops, which we do support wholeheartedly.
We definitely support Tootsie Pops.
Anyway, have a fantastic
All right.
Have a fantastic week. Thanks so much for watching, and right on. All right. So these are the candies that we use in the video today. And I know you guys like dots.
I love
So
dots.
these are Christmas dots. There's
Ooh.
cherry and lime. So I thought I'd let you each try a lime. And then each try...
Free candy.
Here you go, a cherry. So tell me what you think of those.
Actually, this is a dot.
So 2 dots. What do you think? You like it? Which one do you have, the cherry? Oh, and on the lime.
I have those.
They both? Okay. What do you think? Are those better than regular dots?
Or the same. They're the same. Yeah, I like it about the same.
I'll let you each have a couple.
Ooh.
So I think one of them you need to eat, just put the whole thing in your mouth and eat it, and the other one you can like take bites and see what's inside.
So just like.
You want to take
shove it
bites
in
and
my
see
mouth
what's
and chew
inside?
it?
Or just
Yeah.
put the whole thing in.
Yeah, try it.
Am I making styrofoam?
It tastes like styrofoam.
Yeah.
I think it tastes like those cake cones, like the cupcake or the
You're right, it
like
does.
those ice cream cones, the cake cones.
The little things inside kind of surprised me.
Yeah.
Like the small
Super crunchy?
size. Yeah, super crunchy.
So now if you like bite a little bit of it and you can like take out the dots on the inside.
Is dots inside?
They look like little nonpareils.
Oh, they're different colors.
Yeah, you can pour it out.
The secret of these satellite wafers. I can't get them all. I have to take another bite.
Take a real bite. Then you can just eat the styrofoam, which is kind of weird.
What's your favorite part, the outside or the inside?
When I first have it, it tastes like styrofoam, then it tastes different. Now I will taste the beads by themselves. Let's hope.
Rawr.